الله أكبر الله أكبر.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Peace be with you. Today we are talking about a very specific figure that we find in the Quran, about a woman, and a woman who has power, who has wisdom, and at the same time who is very independent and showing the way for us to understand how it should be for a woman to deal with her own life, with her own being, and with other people around her. So we are talking here about the Queen of Sheba. The Queen of Sheba, Bilqis or Bilqis, depending on the pronunciation, is essential in our understanding of the reality of being a woman and at the same time having power and dealing with people around you when we are managing a society, a whole nation. And this is the way she was. What we get from her, and this is a deep understanding for us today as Muslims, because she might not be a Muslim, but she is epitomizing and personalizing the very essence of what are these Islamic principles when it comes to dealing with power and dealing with human beings. So what we get is her sense of independence, but at the same time she's consulting, she's asking her counselors around her which decision we have to take. And this is the translation of what we have in Islam is the shura amruhum shura baynahum, is that they take their decision by consulting each other. This is the way the Muslims should be, and she's doing this with wisdom and taking wise decisions. So let us start with the first thing. She got a message from Solomon, Sulaiman alayhi salam. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, in the name of God, the merciful, the most merciful. So it's a call to come to the essence of one God and to acknowledge his power. Her first reaction is to ask her counselors and to know, okay, what should we do in this situation? And this is what we find in the Quran when it is said, بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم قالت يا أيها الملأ افتوني في أمري ما كنت قاطعة أمرا حتى تشهدون. She said, O counselors, advise me in this matter of mine. I never make a decision unless you are present. So she doesn't want to take a decision alone. So she is not symbolizing dictatorship or autocratic governance. It's the other way around. She is asking the people around her. And at the same time, she's expecting from them to give her a solution. And the first reaction of the people around her, the men who are around her, is really, we are ready to fight. Why? Because it is said in the Quran, قالوا نحن أولو قوة وأولو بأس شديد. They said, we are a people of might and great courage. So it's as if their answer is, okay, we are ready to go and to fight. Let us just attack this potential enemy. This is the way men in history very often are dealing with power. And this was her reaction. Reacting to what they said, she said, قالت إن الملوك إذا دخلوا قرية نفسدوها وجعلوا أعزة أهلها أذلة وكذلك يفعلون. She said, when kings enter a city, they devastate it and subjugate its dignified people. Thus they always do. So she's responding to her own counselors. You have to be careful, because the way kings are dealing is just to destroy the country they enter, and then they subjugate the dignified people. And in fact, she's sending two messages. The first is, you have to be wiser than that. And the second is about the way men are dealing with power. It's all about subjugating and humiliating and sometimes being violent. This is not the way she's going to deal with the issue. And she decided to send a gift to Sulaiman to see the way he is going to react to this. Because, in fact, if the message is in the name of God, is he going to be seduced by wealth and money? So she is quite understanding, clever about, and smart. She knows that, and she wants to know how is he going to deal with this. And then by doing so, it means that not only she's independent, she is consulting, she is wise, she's also very smart in the way she deals with power. And Solomon alayhi salam reacted the right way. My principles first. Even though I can be attracted by wealth, I have enough. So that's not the point. The point is one God and the truth that I am serving. So she answered him and she accepted the communication with no violence. And coming to him afterward, there is the new quality that we find here, that she was full of modesty, a queen at the highest level of power, dealing with her own people, consulting them, being independent, and then at the end showing modesty. And this is also the way to be wise in her relationship. And to end here, we heard about a hadith saying that a community choosing a woman to govern the community is going to collapse, cannot succeed. This is a hadith that we have in Al-Bukhari. Yes, the isnad, the chain of transmission is right, and the hadith might be authentic. Now, the question here is about putting things into context. When was it said? And what about the matna here? About the very essence of the hadith. Why? Because it's impossible to have, and this hadith was said in a very specific situation about a very specific reality with enemies. This is not an absolute statement, because it's impossible to have such a statement coming from the Prophet, peace be upon him, contradicting the very essence of the Quran. And the Quran, a woman, a wise woman, a queen, is dealing with human beings better than many men in history. And this might be the teachings for us today, the psychology that you have an independent woman and a smart woman, and she can deal with power, she can deal with her fellow human beings, and she is listened to by the people who acknowledge her independence and her qualities and her wisdom. Don't forget to tell the people you love that you love them. Life is fragile.
Allah